Gentleman from Utah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member. I'd like to start with my comments directed to Director Sams, but they also apply to the BLM as well. And I know this will shock you. I want to give you a compliment, both of you, and just say that over and over again, I hear positive feedback about members that work for both BLM and National Park Service on the ground in Utah. And we certainly have our differences with both your agencies, particularly as it relates to the Washington, D.C. side. But I'm constantly told how helpful the people are on the ground. And I want to bring up a specific case, Director Sams. I have in my hand a letter, and I'd like to ask that it be submitted for the record, from Catherine Hammond, Regional Director of Glen Canyon National Parks, talking about working with a group of people, our houseboat owners on Lake Powell. And I know that they have had a number of internal meetings and external meetings with these houseboat owners to build a good relationship. And I just want to tell you they're doing a good job, and that how helpful that is to me when they work to build these good relationships, and how much that is appreciated back in the district. Likewise, and that's, thank you, that's Superintendent Kearns. Superintendent Pace has been recently selected to lead the Canyonlands and Arches National Park area. And as you know, in my district, there's few districts like mine in the entire country with 2 national parks and the beautiful areas that we have. It's part of Bears Ears and other areas. She, when she was first appointed, she came to my office and met me. We established a great relationship, and just wanted to give her a shout out as well and appreciate that relationship. She has a very hard task because our national parks in Utah are being what we call loved to death. And there's a tremendous pressure to put a reservation system in, and they've experimented with several reservation systems. And we'd just like to ask you to be personally involved in that, because if we get it right, there's a lot of good, and if we get it wrong, it can really be a detriment to the economy of the area, and just making sure that we work with our local stakeholders to make sure we get it right is very important. So appreciate that. I wanted to bring that up. Director Stone Manning, part of my district is Bears Ears, and we constantly, of course, as you know, have a very difficult issue between going back and forth between administrations on the actual use of this land. But the theme that does not change as we go back and forth between administrations is lack of resources. This is, at the very least, is probably 1.3 million acres. And we just don't have the people on the ground to manage 1.3 million acres and the people that are coming to see the antiquities and things like that. So would like to continue to emphasize the fact that we need more resources in the area to manage this land. Regardless of where we end up on the designation, it just needs more resources, and would love to have your help with that.
Congressman, thank you. And given this is a budget hearing, we would welcome the help. Don't let me stop you.
Well, it's priorities, right? Yeah. It's priorities. And it feels like to those of us in that area that this has not been a priority. This is 1.3 million acres, and I think the number, if I'm not mistaken, is 2, maybe 4 law enforcement BLM agents to manage 1.3 million acres. You can see the impossibility of that problem for them. And Director, you won't be surprised that the BLM conservation rule is hugely problematic in my district. I hardly have an opportunity to speak here where I don't bring up the fact that 90% of these counties is federal land, 90%. And the fact that there can be arbitrary decisions thousands of miles away that impact grazing and recreation and other uses on the land without appropriate input. You know, there was not a single hearing in Utah on this rule, not a single one. The people of Utah had no opportunity to express in person their concerns. And I just want to speak for them today to say they're very frustrated, they're very concerned with this ruling. And as you know, I'm sponsoring the West Act to repeal that. And would love to have conversations with your organization about the end goal. You know, we actually share the same end goal. We all want to preserve and protect and make sure this land is there for our grandchildren. But how we get there and who gets to make those decisions is incredibly frustrating to my district. And I've used all my time, so you don't get a chance to respond, but I think I've made my point. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields, and I'll recognize Ms. Ledger Hernandez for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Director